Number 10. Johnny Quick. Let's start off with an evil version of the Flash, one from the crime syndicate of Earth 3. So he's called Jonathan Allen because there is another Johnny Quick. There are a lot of fast people out there, you don't even know. He was a criminal who got struck by lightning. He got struck with his GF, who became Atomica, GF, his girlfriend, and together they joined the crime syndicate. He would revel in his newfound speed and use it to commit untold crimes. He loves eliminating people who resist them as well. One of the things that works about Johnny Quick is he still has the base personality of the Flash, so cheerful and optimistic, but applied to villainy, it's fantastic. In Justice League Crisis on Two Earths, Batman actually kills him indirectly by tricking him into running so fast he hyperages. He did this to save Wally, cause one of the speedsters had to go. They had to do what needed to be done. Number 9. SELA Allen. SELA was taken into the Speed Force so she could be healed after she was horribly injured by Cobalt Blue. Her father was later killed fighting Cobalt Blue, and she would emerge as a hero and manifestation of the full energy of the Speed Force. All of this occurred in the 23rd century, making her a descendant of Barry Allen's Flash. Just the idea of being pure Speed Force manifested like that. They say Wally is the fastest man alive, like canonically, or they did. Wait for reboots or 5G or whatever we're supposed to be excited about. Still, he's not one with it, even if he has moved through it at great length. A Speed Force conduit, pretty interesting. Still, she's not exactly a character who is used a lot. Number 8. Flash Beyond. So as the Batman Beyond universe has gone on in comic form, there has been an influx of other characters operating in this future, which of course brings us to Flash Beyond, or Danica Williams. So Danica worked at the Flash Museum. Yes, the Flash has a museum because his city likes him. However, she isn't just any ordinary employee. She is connected to the Speed Force, and she can actually communicate with the Flashes of the past. On her first encounter with the Justice League, she actually saved all of them. Now for some, all of the people taking on the same names in the future is just too much, while others think it's sweet, a passing of the torch. Number 7. Lady Flash. Not the trio, the character. We're gonna look at Lady Flash from Earth 33. She is the keeper of the Speed Force. She appeared in Countdown, which is a much maligned year-long event following a really praised 152 that builds up to Final Crisis, which also was a mess depending upon who you talk to. Keeper of the Speed Force sounds like quite the title. I don't think we could give the Flash that much responsibility. I mean, it would depend which one. Probably not Barry. Def not TW Barry. Number 6. Mary Maxwell. What if Stan Lee created The Flash? A question that some of you may have wanted the answer to. And 2002 with the comic Just Imagine Flash, if you were waiting, you got that answer. Mary always wanted to be a hero, but wasn't sure how to go about it. So when she got injected accidentally with a syringe of hummingbird DNA, she is granted super speed and all of her dreams come true. Also, I know she is fast, but am I the only one who is concerned about the amount of streamers on her outfit? It's so she leaves a rainbow trail behind her, but I feel it could also lead to her doom. She would end up helping the Justice League, the big leagues, give the people what they want. Number 5. Leah Nelson. Leah Nelson comes from Earth 9. She's a fashion model and an actress, and she has super speed, and is one of the most famous superheroes in the world. She's in the top 3 famous heroes of this Earth. Her, Superman, and the Atom. Her parents were the first astronauts on the Jupiter mission, so she was born famous. Leah had a unique dilemma. She couldn't really decide, was she a hero or a celebrity? Where did she want to apply her skills? She would actually join the Secret Six. She would also do some dimensional traveling and manipulate Jay Garrick from Earth 2 to his death. Leah comes from the Tangent Comics universe, a line developed to create new characters using pre-established DC names. Some had a real fondness for this universe, and it would reappear briefly in Convergence. Number 4. Iris West 2. We're looking at Earth 22, where the Flash, Wally West, spent almost all of his time patrolling the city obsessively at super speed, but he would spare some time for Iris's brother Barry, who was lazy and didn't even want to be a hero unlike Iris, which made her bitter because she felt he was favored. She would end up being recruited to stop the time-traveling villain Gog, which altered her history. She would end up on a team of next-gen heroes along with Nightstar and Offspring. Number 3. Surge. Surge is interesting in that he is pretty unique. I said extremely originally, but that's a bit much. Also, he has a completely different looking costume. You rock that dark green, sir. He is a speedster working for the Hand of God, a hero protecting specifically the Vatican from superpowered threats. I don't know, it's just so niche. He didn't make it though. He was marked by the Atom and turned against his charge, and he killed the rest of his team and the Pope, because this comic is edgy. He was later hunted down and killed by the Midnighter. Wildstorm is now incorporated into DC, by the way. Number 2. Red Death. Taking us over to the Dark Knights Metal event, wherein the Dark Multiverse was unveiled, a series of negative Earths where the darkest of timelines reign. And in these universes, Dark Batman featured prominently, and many were fused with other DC characters, so this included the Flash. So this happened on Earth -52, where Batman kept losing Robins on his mission and eventually made him snap. So he became more and more brutal when it came to stopping crime. So when the world was ending, he demanded that the Flash give him the Speed Force, and when he refused, he knocked him out and tied him to the hood of his car. And then he drives himself and the Flash into the Speed Force by using the cosmic treadmill. This ended up fusing them together and creating Red Death. Barry's consciousness was subsumed in this, by the way. And number 1, Jay Garrick. So Jay Garrick is not an alternate version of the Flash in the traditional sense, in that he is the first Flash from the Golden Age, who would be replaced by Barry Allen in the Silver Age, but brought back to life on Earth 2 with the 1961 story Flash of Two Worlds. So even though he was the first, as time has gone on, for many fans he doesn't exactly feel that way. He feels to many like an alternate version from another Earth. Barry owes a lot to Jay. He wouldn't exist without him. There would be no Flash to update. Jay Garrick is a staple of the DC Universe, part of the pillar that is their legacy, a huge part of what many people enjoy about DC. Jay was actually really popular in the Golden Age. He was featured in more than one ongoing comic. He would only get cancelled because of the decline in superhero comics popularity post-World War II. Since coming back, he has pretty much been a constant, though the New 52 altered that in the way they shifted legacy characters to separate Earths once more. I don't know, give me all the generational characters, but organically. Let it happen. Number 10. Death. So the Black Flash first appeared in Flash Volume 2, number 141 back in 1998. This was the first full appearance. He had made a brief appearance a few issues earlier as a cameo. And from the outset people had questions. Did he exist because the Flash and the Speed Force existed, or did he always exist and the Flashes were just tapping into this already pre-existing paranormal meta area? The Black Flash seems to be Death, at least for Speedsters, an agent of their demise. It is said he exists because Death is too slow to catch Speedsters. It all has a very fanciful, mythical feel to it. This special Grim Reaper just for those being extra fast. Flashes have reported seeing the Black Flash upon near-death experiences. Or Black Flash, I mean, there are a lot of Flashes, but that's still a lot of waiting around. Number 9. Siphoning off the Speed Force. The Black Flash operates inside the realm of the Speed Force, and as a result he can siphon away the Speed Force from other speedsters, making them slower and himself faster. A huge advantage, especially when you're trying to catch up to someone. Scary though, an entity in another dimension messing with your power set. Ominous. It was better when it was just because you got struck by lightning or inhaled some hard water. Classic origins. Do you like how the Speed Force has evolved? Let me know. Number 8. Gifting the Speed Force. Following up along the same vein, it of course makes sense that if the Black Flash can siphon off powers, he can also grant them. It was revealed that he was the one who empowered Wally West's children, you know, when they still existed, before they were erased for the crime of not only being legacy characters, but Wally's kids in particular. He was already a legacy character. However, there was contention when this occurred, as some felt this complicated the function of the Black Flash, and made it veer away from being the embodiment of death. Neil Gaiman in particular was not necessarily here for this change, feeling that the character is the ultimate personification of death. Number 7. Capturing souls. Along that same vein, we have capturing souls, and yes, this is different than being a Reaper and shepherding those into the great beyond. Not the same. It is not the same as harvesting souls. Same building, different department. The Black Flash has at certain points been believed to have captured souls, perhaps as part of its mission, perhaps to augment its power. Either way, it doesn't sound like the best place for your soul to end up. Some people say you'll rest when you're dead. Not if the Black Flash has anything to say about it. Number 6. Immortality. Now, this may seem like a given to some. I mean, if it is the avatar of death, then would it not have to live forever? Otherwise, how could it perform its duties? However, with some entities like this, there are multiple versions of the character taking on the name, passing on the mantle, or possessing different hosts while the idea or entity is immortal, like say the Spectre. But no, the Black Flash is the one and only, although for a while it looked like the Black Flash was Bart Allen. It was a whole arc, albeit a brief one. Sometimes it seems that comics aren't exactly sure what to do with the Black Flash, but they want to use the design because, well, it's very intimidating. Number 5. Maintaining the timeline. The CW took the time to create its own version and lore for the Black Flash. This version was Hunter Zolomon, in this canon from Earth 2. And he had been transformed into the Black Flash by the Wraiths. It was a whole season-long mystery, just who was the Black Flash. And it was quite devastating for Barry when he discovered who it was. Betrayed again. This Black Flash had a different mission statement than just being the embodiment of death. He was instead in charge of maintaining the timeline. So we all know why he was there for Barry. Barry needs to be stopped. He's just playing fast and loose with the timeline, taking it whichever way he can to get what he needs. And while that can result in some big changes, the Black Flash isn't here for it. There is a natural order to things, or there's supposed to be anyway. Barry. Number 4. Erasing people from existence. What maintaining the timeline means is sometimes you need to get your hands a little dirty. When timelines get altered, it means that sometimes there will be people walking around who, if we're going by the whole maintaining integrity philosophy, basically should not be there. So that means that there sometimes needs to be a little bit of finagling to get the timeline back in order. This is why he was hunting down Eobard Thawne, the Reverse Flash, who Barry had brought back into existence with Flashpoint. Thanks a lot, Barry. The goal: erase Thawne, correct the timeline. This of course prompted the Reverse Flash to try and find a way to keep existing, which would send him on a quest for the Spear of Destiny, so that he could alter it and, well, keep existing. He also had to try and erase Savitar. Number 3. Changing reality. This power flows nicely from the last. Of course when you're erasing people, you are changing reality. Even if it's only to maintain the status quo, that still counts as a change, because it was shifted, and then you shifted it back. And sometimes if people are messing with the Black Flash, the changes may not exactly be what it wanted. The Black Flash appears to have been destroyed by Killer Frost. Number 2. Freezing time. So not only can the Black Flash move freely through the time stream, he can also use the Speed Force to freeze time, or at least make it slow down to the point where only those who have super speed can perceive that it is still moving. It's an ability that not many think about, and not one that a character with that much speed really has to deal with too often. That's one of the most terrifying aspects of the idea of the world changing like that. You would never know. And number 1. Enhanced senses. When you think about the Flash, you think about speed and the like, but there is also the deal of sense enhancement. So the idea here is that the super speed also extends to the senses, which allows for an extra level of perception that cannot be achieved by those working at a slower pace. This is how they still see and hear normally even when moving at such a rapid pace. This also means that they can perceive other speedsters moving around them, especially the Black Flash. So imagine how clear the world must look at what is regular speed for us. Poor average turtles.
In at number 10, faster than the Flash. For those of you who are unaware, one of Reverse Flash's greatest powers that he leans on when fighting with his nemesis is speed, which seems surprising considering the fact that Barry Allen is arguably still considered the fastest man alive. Due to Thawne creating his own negative version of the Speed Force, it made it possible to tap into powers that most speedsters can't even reach. One of those is superhuman speed, faster than the fastest man alive himself. His ability to move at such great speeds gives him the power of superhuman force as well, meaning a punch to the Flash at Reverse Flash top speed would be devastating. In at number 9, sense alternate realities. In the events that led up to Flashpoint, what seemed at first to be a doppelganger of the Flash turned out to be another version of Barry Allen with the codename Hot Pursuit. The only way we as an audience could have discovered this though was by way of Reverse Flash's power. Reverse Flash has the unique ability of being able to sense whether or not people are from an alternate reality. Sounds a bit pointless, but it actually came in handy. All of the universes in the DCU vibrate at different frequencies, and when New Barry arrived, Reverse Flash could sense this. Eobard knew that Hot Pursuit was from an alternate reality just by feeling that he was vibrating at a different frequency than his own. In at number 8, age alteration. Age alteration, a power that we all wish we could have as we got older, and in the beginning of the Flashpoint series we were able to see this power put on full display. At first Eobard was believed to be gone, but he was actually just disguising himself as a child the whole time. When he realized that the Speed Force is simply made up of time, he could tap into this and use it to his advantage. With this unparalleled knowledge, Eobard could control time and even use it however he pleased. Now he could de-age himself or even steal time from his enemies. In at number 7, the Sonic Snap. In the Flash Rebirth miniseries, Reverse Flash made a comeback in a big way and absolutely terrorized the Flash family while doing it. As we've learned so far, the negative Speed Force comes with all of these different abilities, and some the Flash fam were absolutely not even prepared for. To make matters worse, he got a few pointers from the evil speedster villain Zoom. After being chased by Kid Flash and Max Mercury, Eobard took a moment to stop his assailants in their tracks by simply snapping his fingers. That little snap isn't used often by Reverse Flash, but man, when he did, it knocked the hero into next week. The Sonic Snap is so strong it completely bowls over even the fastest of enemies chasing him. Plus it most likely causes huge ripples in reality itself. In at number 6, change his eye color. This may not be his strongest superpower per se, but Eobard Thawne's ability to change his eye color to red certainly sets him apart from all of the other Flash characters. As a villain, just changing his eyes to that bright red makes everything he says and does that much more menacing. Eobard can do this by concentrating his red lightning and focusing its effects towards his eyes, which gives off that evil look. You gotta admit those red eyes do add a lot to the comic book pages, and even though it's not a physically useful power, it does get the message across that he means business. In at number 5, duplicate himself. We got to see a bit of this superpower on display in the CW's Flash series as well as DC's Legends of Tomorrow.
Too slow, Miss Lance. Far too slow.
This power is also referred to as time remnants or temporal duplicates. Due to his metahuman time travel abilities, it's possible for Eobard to rupture time in such a way that he brings forth copies of himself that have been preserved in the Speed Force. Again, a lot of his power comes by way of him being able to tap into that negative Speed Force, unleashing its true potential. These aren't just your regular duplicates though. Reverse Flash can create doppelgangers that can actually communicate with other people. Scary stuff. In at number 4, break protective auras. Going back to the Flash Rebirth miniseries in issue number 4, we saw the Reverse Flash unleash some more surprising powers. The Speed Force provides this powerful aura of protection that keeps them safe from all of the harsh effects that come with moving that fast. What they weren't expecting though was that a villain would come along and just smash right through that. Because the common Speed Force that the Flash family draws from is positive, that meant that Eobard's negative Speed Force was more than capable of a countermeasure. As he's fighting with Garrick, Jay tried to take off only to have Reverse Flash to come up behind him and push him forwards, breaking through his protective aura and severely burning Jay in the process. In at number 3, erase people from existence. All of the Flash family that operate with the Speed Force have the ability to travel through time, but as we saw with Barry Allen and Flashpoint, they experience time travel with a lot more consequences. Again, this goes back to the differences between positive and negative Speed Force. Just because they experience consequences for time travel doesn't necessarily mean it works the opposite way. Eobard's powers are similar, but allow for much more leeway. His version of time travel introduces much more of a chance to manipulate, even being able to eliminate people from existence with no negative repercussions. In fact, the concept of time and reality will just bend to whatever he did to those timelines, meaning he could erase someone from their reality without anyone ever noticing. In at number 2, regeneration. The Flash Volume 5 issue number 23 was a shocking testament to how truly powerful Reverse Flash is. At the start of the comic book, Eobard looked to be nothing more than a pile of bones on an examiner's table, but Barry knew it was all a ruse. Even while looking at his enemy's deceased body, he knew that it was just another one of his tricks. Then before the next page, we saw a little spark of life in the eyes of Eobard. By the end of the issue, he had fully regenerated back to his original state and was waiting for Iris West when she got home with Wally. This means that Reverse Flash is able to repair and regenerate entire cells even if he's been dead for a while. Guy's immortal. Last but not least, in our number 1 spot, retrocognition. This power also became a pivotal part of the Reverse Flash's arsenal and was put on display in the Flash Volume 5 issue number 19. It was the power of memory, but not in the sense that we think of having a good memory. After lightning struck his cell at Iron Heights, Thawne suddenly could remember his entire life before the Flashpoint, which also included memories of Thomas Wayne killing him. The more shocking part about this power was that these memories had been erased from his mind following Flashpoint, yet still when he broke out of his cell, everything came flooding back and now he was more ready than ever to take his revenge.
Number 10, MIA. Well, the Black Flash is a powerful entity that was introduced in 1998 at the end of the Flash Volume 2 issue 138 and was created by 3 of some of the biggest names in comics: Ron Wagner, Grant Morrison, and Mark Miller. The entity had a long absence in the comics and was MIA for over 10 years before returning. It just popped up again recently in the Flash Volume 5 after its long hiatus. But why? Let me answer that. The Black Flash is a powerful foe who is virtually unstoppable, yet it very rarely makes an appearance in the comics. It definitely could be more utilized. However, the lack of frequency with which it appears allows the entity to remain somewhat mysterious, and gives it even more power, as the Black Flash only seems to appear when a situation is about to turn deadly. Number 9. Can freeze time. The Black Flash appears to share many abilities with those that it is chasing, the Speedsters and the Flashes that it comes to claim. Namely, it is known for its speed, but beyond that it also seems to be able to manipulate time, and to also be affected by it. When Wally first runs into the Black Flash, he observes that it seems to slow time around it, and that all normal life is equally affected by its ability to manipulate time, save for the Speedsters themselves, of course. Number 8. Not to be confused with the Black Racer. While the Black Flash was MIA, we did get a different entity who seemed similar, known as the Black Racer, and some may have initially even assumed that the two characters were one and the same. Both appear to be physical manifestations of the concept of death. Both are insanely fast, and both wear a black spandex spandex looking suit, but with one fairly noticeable difference. The Black Racer was actually an agent of death who found itself under the control of the supervillain Darkseid. Darkseid attempted to use the Racer against his enemy Mobius, but Mobius found a way to set the entity free momentarily before tying it to Barry Allen, who then ended up dealing the final blow to Darkseid, killing him during the Darkseid War event. The entity would then remain tied to Barry for a time, who was forced to momentarily become the God of Death. That's just how it goes. Not that Barry wanted to be the God of Death. He was like, please, no. The God of Death was like, no, you're gonna be the God of Death. Deal with it. Number 7. Barry Allen was the Black Flash. During the Flash Rebirth series, Barry Allen is transformed into the Black Flash after Eobard Thawne ends up using the negative Speed Force energy to corrupt him. Poor Barry, who has just returned from the Speed Force and was attempting to adjust to life in the future after being dead for many years, feels a pull to now take those he loves like Wally West and Bart Allen back with him into the Speed Force to end their lives on Earth. Sucks. This is all revealed to be a part of Eobard's plan after Barry decides the only way to escape his fate of harming his relatives is by running back into the Speed Force and sacrificing himself in typical Barry fashion. This seems to revert him back to his old self as he battles Thawne inside the Speed Force. The best battles happen in the Speed Force. Number 6. Eobard Thawne was the Black Flash? Question mark? This is a weird one because the answer is sort of. Eobard Thawne adopted the mantle of Black Flash after his death and resurrection during the events of Blackest Night. Though he looked all undead and sported a similar Black Flash-like costume, he was not the same Black Flash that we're talking about. I know, it's a world of confusing. But also welcome to the Flash lore. You've got Black Racer, Black Flash, and then Thawne's Black Flash, who later came back to life and actually left that mantle. And you've got Hunter Zolomon, who was Black Flash in CW's Arrowverse, but has never actually been Black Flash in the comics. Add in all the time travel and any Flash storylines, they can quickly get confusing. Especially when we're dealing with death speed entities. Number 5. Not the Time Police. While we know that Black Flash can manipulate time, it is also true that time can manipulate it. Or more specifically, the Black Flash can be affected by time travel. If you are a fan of the CW Arrowverse shows, this might surprise you. In Arrowverse, the Black Flash is Hunter Zolomon, aka Zoom, who only reappears as the Black Flash after Time Wraiths have taken him away. It appears that the Time Wraiths have turned Zoom into their own agent of the Speed Force. He can sense those that use it, and seeks to punish those who mess with time. Which is great because it also helps to prevent plots from getting too convoluted in the event of a speedster using time travel to break a story and potentially break our brains in the process. However, in the comics, this is not the case. The Black Flash more often appears as an agent of death than an agent of the Speed Force, or an agent of the Time Police. Thus far anyways. Who knows? Time Police. Number 4. Centuries or Ancient Entity. The earliest sightings of the Black Flash historically in the comic book timeline are dated back to as early as the 1800s. Max Mercury and Jay Garrick were both reportedly aware of the entity even before it was properly introduced in the comics. In fact, in Flash Volume 2, it is Max who explains that he has seen it before when he has been in near-death situations, suggesting that its appearance in pictures is a sign that it will appear to claim Wally West. Max explains that years ago he learned more of the entity from local Native Americans, and that he and Jay have referred to it as Black Flash, while the natives preferred to call it Slow Lightning. Though, maybe they didn't call it that to its face, because that seems like a pretty big insult to an entity that is imbued with enough speed energy to catch even the fastest speedsters. So maybe don't call it Slow Lightning if you see it, just like behind its back. Slow Lightning. Number 3. Wally West once defeated the Black Flash. True story. When Black Flash first appeared in Flash Volume 2, it appeared to have come for Wally West. This was also a story where it was implied that Black Flash had some strong connections with the Speed Force. Instead of killing Wally initially, Black Flash appeared to kill Linda Park, the love of Wally's life. Then in return for Wally, and while his fellow speedsters attempted to work together to protect Wally, Wally ultimately realized there was only one thing for him to do to try and defeat the Black Flash. What Flashes always do. Outrun it. Because how do you beat an entity that is death incarnate and simply a concept? By taking it to a place where it no longer holds any meaning and therefore holds no power, obviously. Wally ran it to the end of the universe, the end of life itself. And there, without any purpose, the entity seemed to disappear as the concept of death ceased to exist at the end of time, the universe, and life. Not really the way that philosophically works, but sure. I can get behind that logic, sure. Then Wally did the unthinkable and managed to get Linda back. How? By running into the Speed Force. So it seems that the Black Flash only kills through the Speed Force, which is where it stores its victims? Hasta la vista, baby. Number 2. Black Flash might not be death. So I know up until this point I've kind of been telling you that the Black Flash is death incarnate, but I've also kind of been lying. The truth is that that's the easiest way to explain the Black Flash, but it might not be the most accurate way to explain it. Where the Black Flash still truly comes from and its purpose is still very much shrouded in mystery. We've gotten a few suggestions, but the Black Flash itself has never really been explained by someone with an in-depth knowledge of it. So we have to take all the information we get about the entity at face value. There are currently 3 major theories on what exactly the Black Flash is when it comes to the comics. 1. The Black Flash is simply death incarnate. No whats, ifs, ands, or buts. Buts. 2. The Black Flash is simply an agent of death, tasked with catching the uncatchable by the original entity Death itself. In other words, it has to run around and catch speedsters who would otherwise be capable of just outrunning Death. Or 3. That the Black Flash is maybe a good guy? Despite looking like an undead version of the Flash, some think that the Black Flash might actually be there to help the speedsters, and be an agent more of the Speed Force than of Death itself. The Black Flash could be seen as an entity used to store speedsters into the Speed Force until such a time as they are needed again. After all, multiple Flashes have appeared to die only to return from the Speed Force when they're needed. So what's that mean? You die but you don't? Comic books. Number 1. The negative Speed Force. So also, despite what I said about the Black Flash's potential connection to the Speed Force, sorry for all these list retcons, friends, it is also possible that the Black Flash does not get their power from the Speed Force at all. Based on what we've seen of the Black Flash, it is likely powered by the negative Speed Force. There are a few hints of this in the comics, with one of the most pointed out clues being in the sometimes color of the energy streaks left behind as the Black Flash moves. That color often being red, which is the color used to depict the negative Speed Force most often in the comics. Whereas the Speed Force itself tends to give off more of a yellow energy when illustrated. Number 10. Speed Force Aura. Well, you may know that the Flash can move insanely fast, allowing him to do a wide variety of wacky things. To be honest, what many don't often seem to think about is just how he manages it. After all, traveling at the speeds at which Barry, Wally, or Bart travel at is a sure way to end up on fire in regards to how physics, well, should work. So how come that doesn't happen? It's just imagined away, right? Because it's a comic book? Well, yes and no. While comics don't often address this potential issue, the truth is there is an in-comic reason for how the Flash can manage to go so fast and still stay safe and, you know, not combust. The Speed Force protects those who are connected to it by creating a protective barrier around them. In other words, he's wearing an invisible speed shield at all times, which keeps him safe. You can't see it, but it's there. Number 9. Enhanced Intelligence. Not everything is best treated as a race, and yet for the Flash it's hard to not treat everything that way. This superhero is built for speed, from his toes right up to his brain. That's right, not only can he move fast, but he can also think super fast as well, making him quite the intellect and bringing a new meaning to the term fast thinker. Get it? When truly concentrating, his fast-acting brain can be used to almost give him future vision, allowing him to see multiple possibilities and imagine their outcomes in an instant. With a brain that fast, I've always been surprised that he hasn't quit the Force and tried to become an improviser instead. That'd be really useful if you were an improviser, thinking on your feet like that. Although it is obvious in the comics, based on some of the Flash's choices, that this isn't an ability he always utilizes. If it had been, Flashpoint probably never would have happened. Number 8. Speed Borrowing. Wait a minute, Amanda. Borrowing? Don't you mean stealing? And isn't that a villain ability? Well, yes and no. While Godspeed is a villain based solely around the ability to feed off another speedster's speed, the Flash has also revealed this to be a useful ability for the good guys. Wally West has used this ability before, and this ability doesn't have to harm those he borrows from either. Really, what is happening when the Flash absorbs another being's speed is he's simply taking in any kinetic energy that the target has built up, allowing the Flash's own stores to be overcharged and resulting in an even faster Flash momentarily. I'll just take some of that speed and use it for this. You can build up more speed later. You're fine. Number 7. Phase through objects. The Flash can move through solid material. His speed abilities allow him to vibrate on a molecular level at a high enough rate and with enough control over his body that he can actually slide his molecules in between the space of other atoms. Atoms themselves are mostly thought to be empty space, and this is the fact that this ability is based on. Flash simply slides his atoms in between another object's atoms, phasing through it. The crazy thing is he can transfer his ability to another object. Barry Allen once used his phasing ability to save an entire plane and all of its passengers from a collision. Pretty impressive. Just phase everything. Phase this whole building. Number 6. Packs a punch. What you might be surprised by is how strong the Flash can be. Well, while moving fast, anyways. The Flash himself is not known for strength, but as physics teaches us, a fast-moving object hitting a slow-moving object can create a huge impact. Though often it is the object moving fast that will feel it more. Look at something falling at a high velocity down to earth. The ground isn't often the one that gets hurt, right? It's the object crashing into it that gets hurt. Or look at cars that have collided with trees. Most often the car is wrapped around an otherwise unchanged tree, especially if the tree is large and thereby more grounded and less likely to move. So running into a wall is usually not advised when it comes to basic physics. Unless you are the Flash, who can move so fast that he can apparently just run through a wall. In the episode Divided We Fall from the Justice League Unlimited animated series, Wally West's Flash shows us just how strong the Speed Force made him when he gained speed running around the world in order to smash into Lex Luthor and Brainiac, who were merged at the time. Smashing into them at top speed caused the deadly duo to separate, and ultimately ended up in them being defeated. Wally West almost phased away in that Speed Force, but people were like, nah, come back Wally, come on. Number 5. Fly. Sort of. More like fancy falling, really. Barry Allen can move his body and limbs so fast that he can create what are known as speed vortexes. These can be used to help direct and cushion his landing when falling from up high. And Barry can also use these speed vortexes to push objects. It's basically like a directional tornado. If you want to see him use it for fancy falling, feel free to check out The Flash Volume 4 issue 26, where he uses it after bailing out of an airplane. So wait, does this ability make Flash a low-key airbender? That's what I want to know. Like super low-key. We're not talking Aang levels, but pretty fancy still. Number 4. Lightning bolts. Well, you may think that the artists are just looking for something to symbolize the Flash's speed when they draw him with little crackles of electricity or lightning around him. The truth is, they are likely, well, they're just that, an artistic representation of the Speed Force. You're right. That's all there. However, in CW's The Flash, they translate to so much more and actually become another power that the Flash can harness and use. The Flash has been shown using this ability to revive teammates like a defibrillator, or more commonly to attack enemies with, evoking Zeus as he appears to just hurl lightning at those who would oppose him. This power has recently also appeared in the newest Flash volume, so it's no longer just fancy art, now it's a thing. The newer incarnation of Wally, who later got retconned into being Wallace West, a cousin to the original Wally West, appeared to have lightning powers as well. So ha! Now it is a comic book ability. I tricked you. You were tricked. Number 3. Give life meaning. So the anti-life equation was a big part of DC when Darkseid, who had been searching for it, finally got his hands on the formula in the events of Final Crisis. The storyline saw the anti-life equation, which has the ability to basically zap the meaning out of life, broadcast across all of Earth, effectively enslaving everyone on the planet and depressing the heck out of them. What could possibly break this horrid mathematical spell? Why, a kiss from Barry Allen, of course. I'm not kidding. When the anti-life equation has hold over Iris West, Barry comes in and knocks it out of her with a simple, Speed Force fueled kiss. Because the Speed Force is also pure life energy, ergo the opposite of anti-life. Also, the anti-life equation is terrifying. Can we just talk about that? It's basically depression in math form. Why am I not surprised that it's in math form? Math always makes me depressed. Number 2. Time travel. During Flashpoint, we got to see just how powerful the Flash really is. In this story, Barry Allen goes so fast that he successfully goes back in time, in an attempt to save his mother from being killed by the villain Reverse Flash, Eobard Thawne. Of course, we don't discover that Barry did this till later, as he wakes up in a completely different timeline where he is depowered as a result and appears to be the only one aware of all that has just changed. Flashpoint also wasn't just the beginning of New 52, but can also be somewhat looked at as the event that was responsible for DC's rebirth as well. Barry Allen's ability to time travel as the Flash is just one of many reasons why the Flash is considered one of the most powerful characters in the DC universe. Real talk. He's the Doctor Who of the DC universe. Number 1. Speed Scouts. Bart Allen's Flash can produce duplicates of himself. That's right. So if you've ever wished you could be in multiple places at once, what you could really just be wishing for is just that you were the Flash. These Speed Scouts or duplicates move forwards and backwards through time and are mentally linked to Bart. They are physical manifestations and as such can even interact with objects or people. Once they return, they can report back any findings to the original Bart. The dangerous thing though is because they are so linked to Bart, they can also negatively affect him as well if they are harmed, even sending Bart Allen into a coma when one of his speed scouts was destroyed. So as powerful as this ability is, it also comes with some pretty high risks too, which is why you don't see Bart use it that often, though he started using it as impulses. He's been using it for a while. But then he was like, nah, too dangerous. I'm good. Number 10. Johnny Quick. On Earth 3, the Crime Syndicate of America rules, kind of like an evil Justice League. Johnny Quick is basically the Crime Syndicate's version of the Flash. While he may share his name with Golden Age hero Johnny Quick, make no mistake that he is nothing like the man he shares the name with, except for the fact that they are both known for their speed. When the Crime Syndicate attacked Earth 1 and Earth 2, it took the efforts of both the Justice League and the Justice Society of America to put a stop to them. And while Johnny Quick was beaten and is not inherently as fast as Barry Allen on his own, he crafted a helmet to enhance his abilities, making him faster while intensifying his connection with the Speed Force. When armed with this helmet, he proves a hard one to catch. Number 9. Lady Flash. Lady Flash hails from Earth 33. On our alternate Earth, the Speed Force is magic based as opposed to being based in science. Lady Flash finds herself as the keeper of this magic based Speed Force and is also a member of the League of Shamans, who are basically Earth 33's version of the Justice League. Having complete control over the Speed Force, she's capable of controlling the connection others have to the Force, allowing her to steal speed energy from those who would oppose her and deposit it back into the Speed Force. Beyond that, she also has a ton of other magic-based speed powers, which other versions of the Flash do not possess. So while she hasn't really participated in a lot of speedster races just yet, it could be expected that she would place above most other versions of the Flash due to her insanely powerful magical abilities. Number 8. Future Flash. This version of the Flash is a future version of Barry Allen himself from 20 years in the future. In the timeline he came from, Wally West was killed, so he traveled back in time to try and eliminate everyone that he deemed responsible for the death of his nephew. The Future Flash's actions ended up creating a huge tear in the Speed Force, which he sought to close by killing his present day self and using his energy to seal the tear. What he doesn't expect is for Wally West to turn up to this fight to try and stop him. The ensuing fight results in present day Barry becoming lost in the Speed Force and Wally's demise, meaning the Future Flash ends up becoming the cause of the very thing he had traveled back in time to try and prevent. Ain't that just how it goes when you're time traveling? Number 7. Reverse Flash. Eobard Thawne is a time-traveling arch-nemesis to Barry Allen who comes from the 25th century. He once admired Allen's Flash, only to discover that he was destined to become his greatest enemy. Thawne has more knowledge than Barry Allen when it comes to the Speed Force, even creating his own unique type of Speed Force energy, the Negative Speed Force. Combined with his disregard for consequences as a result of messing with the Speed Force and with time, Thawne often gets the upper hand on Barry and ends up strides ahead of him. How many times can I say Speed Force in one video? You're gonna find out. Number 6. Godspeed. Speed. August Hart was part of the Central City Police Department, working alongside Barry to round up all of the sit-ins who found themselves affected by a speed storm that had passed through, as this storm had granted some bystanders speed powers. It turned out that August himself was also affected in such a way, which Barry eventually came to learn when he caught on that August was using his speed powers to steal speed energy from those that he claimed to protect. Barry could not take down Godspeed alone, and actually had to call on other Flashes to help him defeat the villain. Godspeed's connection to the Speed Force is so pure that he can simply sense the Speed Force in others, and his powers allowed him to duplicate himself, create constructs, and even siphon speed energy from other speedsters, in effect stealing it and using it to power himself, making him even faster. All things that were beyond Barry Allen's abilities at the time. Number 5. Zoom. Hunter Zolomon in the comics was originally Wally West's friend who turned rival. After he became paralyzed after an incident involving Gorilla Grodd, Hunter asked Wally to help him by using the cosmic treadmill to go back in time and prevent him from becoming paralyzed. When Wally refused to help, Hunter broke into the Flash Museum and attempted to use the treadmill himself, resulting in an accident that caused Zolomon to lose his connection with time. He decided that he would use his newfound power to help Wally become a better hero, reasoning that Wally had only refused to help him because he did not understand what it was like to suffer a severe personal loss. And so he would gift this suffering to Wally by aiming to kill his wife, Linda. Oh, so kind, what a good friend. The power he gained from the accident allowed him to manipulate time relative to himself. So while he was not able to use the Speed Force to rival the speed of Barry or Wally, he can adjust his own self within time to make himself as fast as he chooses, even managing to be faster than Wally at times. Pretty impressive. Number 4. The Black Racer. In the comics, the Black Racer is basically Death incarnate for the Speedsters. This version of Death is imbued with the Speed Force so that even those who would seemingly be capable of outrunning Death may still pass on. While some have proven even too fast for the Black Racer himself, like Wally West, Barry Allen once found himself caught by the Black Racer after attempting to outrun him. In the events of Darkseid War, the Black Racer catches Barry and successfully merges with him, transforming him into a living version of the God of Death, despite the fact that Barry tried to escape this destiny. Because you know, he didn't really want to be Death and kill people. He's a hero. Too bad, can't outrun Black Racer. Not if you're Barry Allen. Number 3. Dark Flash. Walter West is an alternate version of Wally West. His life paralleled Wally's with one major difference. His love, Linda Park, was killed by Cobra. This event changed Walter from a hero to a villain, turning him dark. He became a student of Savitar, learning everything he could about the Speed Force from him. Soon, Walter surpassed Savitar, and after he felt he had learned all he could from his teacher, he killed him. When Walter first crossed paths with Wally West, he proved too fast for him. However, Wally soon returned disguised as Zoom and managed to beat Dark Flash, though this version of Wally West was in his prime. You know, if it takes prime Wally West to beat Walter, then you could determine that Dark Flash himself could likely beat Barry Allen in a foot race. Number 2. Wally West. Wally West is known for being the fastest Flash around. During the final issue of Flash War, we saw him exceed even his mentor Barry Allen. Zoom has pit the two heroes against one another as Wally races to break open the Speed Force and free his kids after Zoom led him to believe that they were trapped within the Speed Force. Barry Allen works to stop this from happening. Zoom's plot is to have the speed barrier broken open so that he can retrieve power found only beyond that and use it to rewrite his past. Once the two heroes team back up, Wally finds himself chasing the impossibly fast Zoom. Barry actually urges Wally to move even faster. Barry's words of encouragement ensure Wally that he believes in him and knows that he is capable of being fast enough to stop Zoom. The pep talk works, and Wally not only beats his mentor Barry Allen in terms of his speed, but also successfully defeats Zoom. Number 1. Iris West II. So if Wally West is the fastest, how could there be anyone faster? Make way for Iris West II. Iris West is Wally's daughter, and we are first introduced to her in Kingdom Come. After an issue with the Speed Force causes her and her brother Jay to rapidly age, we see her as a 40-year-old, and she is just as fast as his father, and that's obviously when she would be past her prime. Later, when Queen Bee gains control of her, she gives Iris a device which allows her to tap into her full potential in terms of her connection to the Speed Force. It turns out she is a conduit for the Speed Force and is able to use it to control speed and time. Wally seemed to be one of the only few that could even fight against his daughter's speed warp abilities, and even then her powers dramatically reduced his speed. Although the events involving Queen Bee left Iris afraid of the full extent of her powers, the fact remains that the Force is strong with this one. I have no doubt that she's going to become like the fastest Flash ever if we get to see more of her.